I got our next guest on the line, and definitely an honor and a privilege to have our next guest on the line. He's one of the top light heavyweights in the entire world, hailing from Liverpool in the United Kingdom. On November 17th in Nottingham, he's going to be fighting Roberto Bellanti for the vacated WBC Silver Light Heavyweight Championship. So without further ado, I want to introduce Tony Bellew. Welcome to ATG Radio, champ. How you doing today?
Thanks for having me, pal. I'm good. I'm real good.
Hey, Tony, first and foremost, during the introduction, you got your upcoming fight on the 17th of November in Nottingham against Roberto Bellanti. This guy's got a little bit more experience as far as professional fights concerned. What do you know about your opponent?
Yeah, I know he's a good fighter. His record speaks for itself. He's 31 wins, 1 loss, and the loss came early in his career. So, he's a good fighter, and I fully respect him, and I'm prepared for what he's going to bring on November the 17th.
Tony, I got to ask, there was rumors going around that you took your training camp out of the UK, somewhere else. I mean, I don't know if I can go in there and say much more about it, but can you elaborate to the boxing fans, to the listeners, where you traveled to further your training camp?
Yeah, I went over to New York. I'd done 10 days in New York. I'd done most of it at Gleason's. I spent some time over at Coney Island and some time over at Long Island too. So the sparring over there was pretty fierce. It was competitive, and it was really good. It was exactly what I wanted. There was no quarter asked and there was no quarter given. So it was a good experience, and one that I'll be definitely doing again in the future. Can you mention some of the names you sparred to get prepared? One was a guy called Shawnee Monahan. Another guy was called, I'm trying to think of all the names. There's one guy called Earl. There was Curtis Stevens involved. Marcus Brown. Who else was there involved? There was Joe Smith. There was a few good guys there. It was really good. I enjoyed my time there. I think I gained everybody's respect when I finally got there, because nobody knew who I was when I first arrived, and by the end of me spending the 10 days there, I think everybody knew who I was, and that was just purely through the boxing and not through anything else. For your career, Tony, and I want to pass you to my co-host, for your career, how important is it for you to get that U.S. exposure, whether it's to go over there training and also to fight? It's very important for me. My grandfather lives in America and my mother's half American, so it's not just a fan-based thing, and it's not just experience. It'd be an honour to fight there because, as I say, my grandfather's originally American, and he lives in the States. He lives in Indiana, so it'd be great for them to see me fight over there, and it would also be an honour, to fight in somewhere like a Las Vegas or the Madison Square Garden. It'd be a dream come true. It really would.
Well, hey, Tony, this is Michael Dawes. How you doing?
How's it going, Paul?
I'm doing good, man. Speaking of America, Nathan Cleverly has and one of a guy that you know very well, has an upcoming defense in America, but apparently his opponent, Ryan Coyne, is having trouble with his promoter, Don King, and apparently he's out of that fight. Was this fight already made? Was this fight already made against your opponent in November? And being you was already in the States, what did you think? Did you even know about this happening?
Well, I'd heard slight things. I basically don't pay him any attention, to be honest. I mean, the guy's got that many fights happen and then not happen. I think this is about the 3rd fight that's being cancelled on him this year, so it's nothing new. And I mean, anybody should know in the boxing business, if you're going to prepare into a fight with somebody, then you're going to have to be dealing with that guy's promoter or that guy's manager. So it sounds like a schoolboy error, to be honest, but that's not for me to worry about, and I don't really need to base any time on towards Nathan Cleverly. I just need to think about Tony Bellew and what I'm doing. So all I'm focused on is November the 17th. It's a huge bill. It's going to be shown stateside because it's Yusuf Mack and Carl Froch. So I'm hoping to get some American exposure, and I'm hoping to show the US fans what I'm really about. I mean, it's only been the guys in New York that have really seen and witnessed what I'm about, and I'm sure if you'd ask anybody from New York or the Brooklyn side what they thought of me when they see me in the gym, then it'll be quite good things said. So, like I say, I'm focusing on myself. November the 17th is a big fight for me. I'm giving away experience once again, and this guy can fight. It's as simple as that. 31 wins, 1 loss, and that was in his 4th pro fight, and he's ranked above me in every single organisation, every single governing body. He's rated 6 with the WBC, 8 with the IBF. I think he's something like 10 with the WBA, so I'm nowhere near his ranking, so I'm open to rip that ranking away from him and do a number on him, to be honest.
Let me ask you about your promoter. I mean, or your whatever happened. I'm not. Maybe you can enlighten us a little bit, if you can, about Frank Warren. I heard that you were cutting ties with Frank Warren. I heard that you left Frank Warren. What is that about?
What it is, I'm basically self-managed now, and I'm promoted by myself. To be honest, I mean, I'm doing a fight-by-fight deal with Eddie Hearn at Matchroom, and I'm happy with where I'm going. To be honest, so it's the ball's in my court, and I shift a lot of power to my hand at the moment. So, like I say, I'm self-managed. So there's really nothing to really elaborate on. I'm not working with Frank Warren, and I don't see me working with him in the future, to be honest. So, I'm a happy man, and I just want to keep moving forward and keep progressing. Like I say, Frank Warren bears no reflection on me, and he has no hold or anything over me. I can't state again, I'm self-managed, and I don't need anything from Frank Warren. He doesn't need anything from me.
Well, we were talking to other guests before, and one particular guest was talking about, I'm not going to mention any names, but mentioned his promoter. His promoter was Don King, and he basically upset Don King, and Don is known for, if you upset him, he can make it really bad for you in the business. He can basically blackball you.
Oh, definitely.
What do you think about that with Frank? Do you think there'll be any trouble working with other promoters once you're done with Frank?
Maybe if this was 5 or 6 years ago, then yeah. I mean, you don't want to annoy the real power brokers in the game. But at the end of the day, some things went wrong that I didn't believe in, that weren't right, and I'm not going to sit by and let somebody dictate my career when they're not doing it for the best interests of me. It's as simple as that, really. So I couldn't sit by and let people do things to me that I didn't agree with, and I couldn't sit by and see somebody control my career who's not having my best interests at heart. It's just as simple as that. So I'd rather rot on the shelf and never fight again than fight for somebody who doesn't believe in me and somebody who doesn't give a monkeys about me, to be honest. That's what I'd rather do. I'd rather rot. I'd rather just not fight anymore. So, like I say, I'm past all that now. I've won my case against them, and they've set me free, so I'm happy, and I'm moving on.
My last question is, actually, it's about a guy that's about 50 or 60 pounds bigger than you, and you'll probably never be fighting this guy. But apparently, and I don't think anybody's asked you this, or I have heard your take on this. But a good friend of yours, and David Price, we all know that.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury went on a rampage on David Price when he beat Ollie Harrison. And he just happened to say your name with David Price, talking about sexual preferences, and you know what he said. What is your take on that? Why do you think that he mentioned your name?
My take on it is that he's just a young kid with a lot of heat on him at the moment, and he's feeling the pressure and he's feeling the stress. I mean, at the end of the day, like I told him through the Twitter and through the media networks, nobody forced you to give up your titles. You'd only had to defend them, and you chose not to. You chose to give them up. So, listen, it is what it is. He can say what he wants. He can make any kind of preferences that he wants. At the end of the day, I'm a happy fella with 2 kids, another one on the way, and I'm doing my thing. I'm progressing at a fast rate, and probably a faster rate than he is. So, at the end of the day, I'm happy, and I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing what I have to do to keep getting ahead.
When the fight does happen, if it does, David Price versus Tyson Fury, what happens? Say that again, sorry. When the fight actually does happen, the one that Tyson Fury keeps on talking about, David Price, your friend, versus Tyson Fury, what happens?
I believe David Price wins by knockout in somewhere between the first and the third round. I really do believe that. He's just too powerful. He's technically too good. And I just believe he's a level above Tyson Fury. I really, really do.
Thanks, Tony. I appreciate it.
Hey, Tony, how you doing? Games. A couple quick questions. You mentioned about America being noticed in America. Your last fight, you stopped Edith Miranda, who's very well known to American names. Although he may be a bit, on the other side of the mountain, at least that's what a lot of the American reporters believe. What's it mean to have a name like that on your record as a knockout win?
It's a good thing, to have Edison Miranda on your resume is a big, big thing. And like I say, you guys in the States know him, and people have got to remember it's only really the same Edison Miranda that went in the ring with Andre Ward, really, because it's not I agree it's not the Miranda from the Pavlik fight, because I don't ever think he was the same after the Pavlik fight, but I'd say it's the same Edison Miranda that got in there with Andre Ward, but it's different going in with super middleweight. I'm a big, big light heavyweight, and from the second round onwards, he was starting to really feel it. And whereas I don't think he's physically lost anything, he's mentally lost a lot of love for the sport, and I think he's lost the fight too. And I took the fight out of him, and I really beat it out of him at times as well. So, I hate him, and he's thinking, what's going through his mind is, do I really need this now? And, he come in the changing room afterwards and told me I was one of the strongest guys he'd fought. So that was a nice compliment, but I can't emphasize enough. He's a middleweight or a super middleweight, and going in with someone as my size at light heavyweight, 6'3", I come down to light heavyweight, I really do. And when you get in with someone of my size at this weight, then you're going to feel it.
You mentioned about training in New York. You mentioned some names. Shawnee Monahan is a good prospect. Curtis Stevens, who most of us know, and a couple of other guys, Marcus Brown, who is an Olympian. Talk about that work as compared to the work that you normally get back at home.
Well, to be honest, it was a really good range and a variety. That's what I miss at home. I do a lot of work with Carl Froch, as everybody knows. We've sparred over, 150, 200 rounds together, and we'll pick that up again this week. But I wanted to go to the US because I wanted to see the various styles. I wanted to work with guys who can work inside. In England, there's not many guys who like to work inside and really like to rough it up at times. And going to the US, and they didn't know who I was, and turning up at gyms, and it just looks like what's this skinny guy from England doing here? So he was trying to give out some beatings, and it just worked out that it didn't really happen. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good experience, and like I say, good strong guys. But, I mean, if you ask them guys if they enjoyed mixing it with me, then, you'd have to ask them on how they felt they done. But I felt I done great. I really enjoyed the experience. And like I say, it's an experience I will do again.
Go ahead, Mark.
Do you see this being more the norm? You see yourself coming over here for more, if not all your camps, to spend some time in America?
Yeah, I really would like to do some more camps in America. It's like I say, it's a great place to prepare, and the variety and the amounts of sparring that I got there was really, really good. As I say, in England, there's not too much about of real quality, so it was good what I got there. It would usually basically be for the main parts of me sparring. As I say, the 10 days I've done there, I sparred like 5 or 6 times, so it was every other day, but I wanted to do between 8 and 10 rounds all the time. So, not all the guys could hold up to 8 and 10 rounds with me, but, some of them did, some of them didn't. But it was a good experience. Like I say, it was one that I'm very grateful for, and it's one that I want to do again, definitely.
Hey, Tony, real quick again, this is Michael Dawes. I just wanted to ask, I wanted to say something first. Americans appreciate guys with, fighters that fight with heart, or as we call balls. Over there, they call it stones or bollocks, but you got plenty of that, and you would be a fighter that I know would be embraced in the States. It takes a lot of courage to go over here and train against guys. And they don't know who you are. They're going to come real hard. They're going to try to prove themselves, and that's good. That's great. But I will tell you that you coming here would be very good for boxing. You would have a lot of success here in the United States.
That's the dream. I mean, thanks for them nice comments. But like I say, that's the dream. I mean, everybody knows United States is the mecca of boxing, so it really would be nice to be over there. I've got a few big plans that I'd like to have in the UK, like fighting at my football ground. That's my ultimate dream come true in boxing. But then I've also got another few dreams, like I say, MSG, Madison Square Garden, or somewhere of that kind of arena, somewhere of big size, or Vegas, or wherever it takes you. I just want to put myself on the map, and when I finish boxing, I want people to know that I gave it everything I possibly had, and that, I was in it for the long haul. I'm not in it for a quick buck. I'm in it I'm in it for the long run, and I really want to be in great fights.
Well, my very last question. We had a very, very sad passing. This week with Emmanuel Stewart. What are your thoughts on that? And have you ever encountered and had any encounters with Emmanuel? And just give us your thoughts on his death.
My thoughts on him, I thought he was an amazing man. I really do. Any guy who creates Tommy Hearns from scratch deserves the ultimate respect in boxing. I've studied his fighters for many, many years because, I study the game. I really do. And watching Emmanuel Stewart, the fighters he's worked with and what he's done in the game for the likes of guys like Lennox Lewis, there's just so many guys. He's worked from Holyfield, there's names just keep rolling off your tongue. And Emmanuel Stewart is a legendary figure in the sport, and it's a great loss to boxing too, because I enjoyed as analyst, the way he used to be an analyst on the TV. I enjoyed listening to him and seeing what he had to say, because if Emmanuel Stewart had something to say about boxing, then you'd have to sit down and listen, because it always made sense. And I just think it's a terrible loss for the game, but it's just really, really sad things. I just hope that the cronk doesn't dissolve now that he's gone. I hope it carries on and stays strong, and his name is carried on in great ways.
It's a pleasure talking to you. Thanks.
All right, Tony.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, Tony, this is Tim Cudgess. I had a quick question for you, even though it seems that everybody else asked every possible question. I just wanted to kind of go back to when you were talking to Mike about Frank Warren, and something that you said caught me when you said he didn't have your best interest at heart. And I noticed it could be a repetitive track record with him, like how he has division rivals. For example, you and Cleverly, he had you fight, and then even though a lot of people, myself included, thought you got the decision, Cleverly got the decision, and it seemed the bigger fights were there for him. And then you had a guy, James DeGale, who he swore by everything, all about DeGale, bashed Groves. Then Groves got the close decision over DeGale, and he signed Groves, and Groves got the big fights. DeGale got left on the shelf. Now, what's your take on this situation? Is it repetitive with Frank? Is it something that he always seems to do?
I don't know what it is. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I can't climb into his mind and think. I wish I could at certain times, but I can't, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I knew my best interests were in the heart. It's like, it's a guy like he's in a relationship. The best way I could explain it was a guy is in a relationship with two women, one's his mistress and one's his wife, and it takes no bones in thinking which one was the mistress and which one was the wife in both situations you've just said. So, I ain't going to be no one's mistress, and, I want to be number one, and I believe, like I said, I believe I'm a world champion without a belt at the moment, but I'm willing to prove that, and I'm willing to fight whoever I've got to fight to prove where I'm going to get to. So, it's going to be a long journey, but it's going to be an exciting and a good one too. And I just hope everybody wants to come along for the ride, because let me tell you, as soon as I get the next world title fight, it ain't going to no point decisions. I'm going out there. It's kill or be killed.
Awesome, Tony, and I'm looking forward to your next fight. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Tony, one more thing, buddy. We appreciate your time today. Obviously, they can, the boxing fans, if they're not, they can follow you on Twitter, @Tony Bellew. You got any final words for the boxing fans out there?
Just keep tuning in, and thank you for the support. I can't thank you all enough. Thanks so much.
Okay, Tony. Have a great night, my friend, and God bless you, man.
You too, guys. Thanks a lot. Goodbye now.
Thanks, champ.